Hey crafty friends, I am back with a process video and this is for the Hip Kit Club design team. This isn't for any particular project, I just had a lot of stuff left over for the August kits, and while I was eagerly awaiting the September kits, I figured I'd make an extra layout. So my plan here, I guess I should start with saying I didn't really have a plan. I knew there was a ton of like lovely blues and teals in the kits, and so I wanted to do something semi-monochromatic. I wanted to use modeling paste as I haven't used modeling paste on a layout in forever, and I wanted to focus on blue. That was my plan. So what you saw I did there was I cut that scalloped willow lane paper. I cut the actual scallop part off, and I am not very good at fussy cutting, so my edges are kind of wonky, but I went for it. And then I laid that over some basil avalanche cardstock. I went with the basil cardstock because the basil cardstock is a lot thicker and has a lot more integrity than like your average cardstock from like Michael's or any of the big box stores. And since I knew I was going to be putting modeling paste on this page and I wasn't doing any page prep, I figured I'd go with a cardstock that has a little bit more integrity. And you're probably going to hear the kittens running around a lot during this video. Last night was the first night we slept apart from them because they've been waking us up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and so we have been locking them out of our bedroom. And now I'm outside and they're just freaking out. So I'm sorry if you hear that. There's nothing I can do. They're babies and I love them, and I just have to give them space to cause trouble. So my plan for the modeling paste was to do kind of an ombre effect. So I got this shimmers color, and this is Well Blue Me Down, and it's a really pretty like turquoise teal color. And so I put some modeling paste in an old bit of packaging. I think I learned this from Adele at Inky Quill. When you open ephemera, if ephemera has like the plastic case versus, the sheet protector style, save these because they make really, really good mixing plates, and then you don't have to buy mixing plates later. So what I did was I added a tiny, tiny amount of the Well Blue Me Down, just enough to tint the modeling paste, and my plan is to just steadily add more and more and more as I go down the page to keep making the modeling paste darker. And this is going to give me the ombre effect, and it's really easy to create a monochromatic look this way because you're only using one color. You're not, worried about mixing or matching colors. It's very easy to just do this with one color. And so I'm just going to work on this and keep adding more of the shimmers, and eventually I'm going to have to add more modeling paste to this container because I misjudged how much I was going to be using. And then I'm just using a palette knife. These are a pack of plastic palette knives that I got at Michael's for like a few dollars, and I'm using that to scrape it on. And eventually you kind of lose the look of the different papers, like the scallop paper blends into the white, but on the close-ups you'll see that they're different papers. So now you see I have all my modeling paste finished. I went in with the Well Blue Me Down and tried to add some splatters, and I didn't really succeed. I'm not as good with the splatters as other people are. I gotta figure out what I'm doing wrong. And then I grabbed some gold Heidi Swap Color Shine because I wanted to add some gold to the background. And I added some gold to the background because the Willow Lane has a ton of like foiled elements in it, and I thought it would be fun to add some shimmer to the background. That darker blue you saw me pull out was also shimmers. It's called Jenny B Blue, and I thought it would be cool to add a different shade of blue to the background just to kind of give it some dimension. Now the next thing I did, which I figured you didn't really need to see because I've done it 100 times, is I cut out tiny little sections off the left and the right side of the paper, and then I took that Amy Tan paper that was striped, like teal and white stripes, and I used that to fill in the little corners of the paper that I cut out, and then I kind of ruffle them up to make it look textured. And now I'm hitting everything with my heat tool, trying to make sure the modeling paste is as dry as possible. Normally I would have left this for like a few hours and came back and did something else, but I was impatient and I wanted to finish the layout, so my heat tool I hung out a fair bit during this particular project. So for the photo, it's a photo of me taking pictures. It's very like Inception. It's like a photo of a photo. But my lighting setup in our new apartment is pretty interesting. I've used two IKEA tables that I've stacked on top of each other. So it's just two IKEA the side tables, and I used some Gorilla Glue and glued them to each other and stacked them so they're a lot higher and easier for me on my back. And then I use a white piece of foam core that I got at Dollar Tree, and I buy a ton of them when they have them because they almost never have them. And then I just have a basic set of umbrella lights from Amazon. And that is my photography setup. I film all my YouTube videos on my messy desk, which is why you always see a bunch of other stuff in the background. And so I had set up my setup to take some pictures, and I asked my husband to, like, if he felt like it, to grab a picture of me taking pictures, as I thought it'd be cool to journal about that. And he did, and he got a really good picture. So that's what the picture is, the picture of me taking pictures of my scrapbook projects. So here I'm just backing my photo with some tissue paper, and I did it really messy on purpose because I wanted to get like layers of tissue paper, and then eventually I went in with the scissor and kind of like evened, not perfectly even them out, because I still wanted the whole messy factor. Like with a background like this, I wasn't aiming for anything, clean and graphic. And even at this point, I still had no idea what I was doing with the remainder of the design. I had my background, I had my black and white photo, and that was literally as far as I got. So now I'm working on building a mat for my photo, which is typically where I start, and then I just go to embellishing from that. So I pulled out the Project Life cards because I got the Project Life kit this month, and I went through it and I pulled out anything that would kind of monochromatic, anything that would match my color scheme. So there was a ton of like really pretty teals and soft blues in the Project Life card. And that last card I picked out is white, but it has a teal outline on the card, and I only wanted it for the outline. If you've watched my previous videos, you know that Project Life and I are not friends right now, so I'm just using them as embellishments and layers for my photo. Maybe Project Life and I will make up in this lifetime, but right now the cards are going to get used up for things that they weren't probably intended for. So now you see I'm just kind of matting my photo on all these blue papers. And I went for like a fan style mat this time. So I did one big piece across the top, and then I did the smaller elements coming down on the side. And now you notice my modeling piece still isn't dry, even though my heat tool and I have been working on it. So I go back in again. My heat tool's from Michaels. It's the Recollections brand. It was like the damask one, and I thought it was pretty, and it wasn't like a basic gray or a basic blue, so I went with that one. So now I'm going to start pulling out embellishments. And what I do for the embellishments is I go straight for the chipboard sheet, and I grab a bunch of pieces of chipboard that I think I might want to use, and I just put it all on my craft mat. I pull out this frame because I thought it'd be cool, but it's a completely wrong shade of blue, so I just decided to like put it right back. And I knew I wanted to use this teal, are we calling it crepe paper? Are we calling it fringe? I wanted to use this teal fringe element, and the last few times I used it, I put it on the back of my photo. So I was like, well, let me see what happens if I put it on the front of the picture. So I'm making like a little skirt for my picture, and I really like the way this looks. So I'm putting my photo on foam because I almost always mount my pictures on foam. I do like the extra dimension. I like the way it makes the picture kind of pop up off the page. So I've just been putting my pictures on foam, and I use again the craft foam Michaels that you get in like, I think it's like 20 or something sheets in a pack for like $3 or $4. It's not expensive, and I've had this same pack of foam and I've had it forever. So now you see I'm making the little skirt for my picture, and I decided I'm going to put it off to the side, and literally I was making this up as I went along. I had no plan, no idea what I was doing. I was like, that looks good. Okay, I could work with that. And so I go for the chipboard, and now you see those are all the pieces I pulled out of my chipboard pack, and they were running kittens. I'm so sorry. So those are all the pieces of chipboard I pulled out my pack. I pulled out anything that was like blue or teal or even a little bit of green, just because I thought that would work with the color scheme. So the house is just because I was at home and it was the right color. There was no other reason besides it was the right color. A lot of my layouts, when I embellish them, sometimes there's like a really thought-provoking reason for why I picked out a particular piece, but other times it's just because I thought it was pretty and it matched the color scheme. So there's that like light blue bird, and I ended up gluing that on top of the crepe paper fan skirt I made, so it overlaps with the house. That's how I end up using it. Now I had to use a lot of glue on this layout, and I still don't know if things are like permanently stuck down. I might go back in and put more glue, but that's because I use a ton of modeling paste on the background, and things don't stick well to modeling paste. So I'm using the Scotch tacky glue in my fine line bottle. I get a lot of questions about what glue I use. It is the Scotch tacky glue. You can get it at any craft store. It's a white bottle, and then I just put the glue in my fine line bottle so I can control it better. I've been using the Scotch tacky glue since I started scrapbooking, and it has not failed me yet, so I'm going to stick to that. Of course, here, as soon as I say it hasn't failed me yet, nothing is sticking to my page, which is not the glue's fault. It is the modeling paste, and it's the texture and everything else. So I put that cuckoo clock because it looked like a house, and I needed something on the other side of my photo to kind of balance it out. I originally pulled out the cuckoo clock cardstock embellishment piece from the die cut pack, but it was so flat and everything else is so textured that I was like, I'm just gonna stick to to the chipboard. And I do eventually use a few cardstock stickers, but not really underneath my photo. So now I have this like really pretty bird, and it was a perfect color, and I was like, where am I gonna put this bird? I tuck it in on the top of my photo. Are there birds in this layout? No, but I like them. Now I fuss around with this butterfly because I want to use a butterfly and I'm not sure where to put it. And I ended up putting it, my layout ends up being a like vertical design. So I just kind of stack things on top of the photo. So I put the bird, and then I put the large butterfly, and then that green butterfly is a cardstock sticker. Now I have this gold foil heart, and again I put gold Heidi Shine in my background because I knew there was a lot of gold shiny elements to the Willow Lane collection and gold shiny things in my kit. So that's part of the reason why I put the Heidi Shine, and now I'm putting some stuff down. That chipboard was 2 shades of teal, and it just said happy happy, and it goes next to my bird because it works out. And now the cats are wrestling, and I'm hoping they behave themselves just so I can finish. So that banner is a cardstock sticker from the cardstock sticker sheet, and I just, oh, there they go. It's a cardstock sticker from the cardstock sticker sheet, and I just put it between my photo and the foam, and now that gold heart now has a place, and it kind of hangs out right between the cuckoo clock and the green banner. And so now I'm adding some more stickers because I'm a sucker for tiny word stickers and phrases. So that teal sticker that I put down says the light of my life, which I thought was pretty funny because I'm taking a picture of light. And is this light the light of my life? Maybe not, but it does make my life very easy when it comes to taking pictures of scrapbook layouts. You can't want to be on a design team and not be able to do or produce well-lit photos. It's like one of the first requirements is please produce well-lit photos. You can make the best projects in the world, but if you can't take good pictures of them, then, and here we have a bit of shaky cam because cats and tripods and everything else. One of these days I'm going to lock them up in the bathroom when I'm filming my layouts, but they're so sweet, and they also cry if they're not next to me. And so I leave them and I try to edit all the shaky cam. This one managed to sneak by me. You should have seen the other 5 times I had to chop it up. So now those bows are from Amy Tangerine, and I knew I wanted to use those bows. So they were sitting on my desk. I haven't used a single one of them on any layouts, and I thought they would be fun to use here. But I had a bit of trouble with it. So what I decided to do was take that foam sticker that the bow is actually on, take it off completely, and put glue directly on the leather-like texture of the bow, and they stick so much better that way. And again, I know it's because I have the modeling paste and everything else on the background. I'm sure if I was sticking it on like plain unaltered cardstock, it would go down in a peach, but we work with what we have. So now that I put a gold bow down, and then I put a white bow down because I wanted to put 2 and none of the other colors matched in the bow pack. There was like silver and there was like black, but I went with the white. And now I'm grabbing some of these gold stars. These are our trim pack, but I chose to just cut them up and use them individually as embellishments to add more shiny elements to the page. So I just kind of like tuck these under. There's no rhyme or reason to where I put these. I just, put them down, and I was like, this looks good here, and stuck it down. When it comes to the way I embellish a lot, that's the way I do it a lot of the time. And sometimes I do end up picking things up and putting things back. But for the most part, once things go down, I'm happy with where they are. So I'm just adding a few more gold stars. I add another gold star next to that bird. I add one next to the cuckoo clock, and I add one next to that gold flower chipboard sticker that was underneath my photo above my house. And now I need a title. And I had no idea what I wanted to do as far as a title went. And so I saw that cardstock sticker that said Sunshine on My Mind, and I'm like, that's a good title. Part of the reason why I have to use these artificial lights is I don't have really good natural light in my apartment, and so sunshine is always on my mind, because if I did have natural light, I wouldn't be fussing with these. So all I do is stick down my title. I add some glue behind it just to help it stick down, and then that's it for this layout. So I'm going to put some music on because I'm sure you're sick of listening to me babble, and then you can watch me finish up. There are still photos after the layout's finished, and then if you want to hang out with me more, there'll be more YouTube videos after the break so you can watch further. As always, keep it crafty, friends, and have a great day.